a member of the very successful Swedish team. So TSUBOI in the blue shirt there, he's 29 years of age, ranked at number 54. His first World Championships were back in 2006 in Bremen, and indeed in Paris 2 years ago at the World Championships. He reached this stage, which is the last 64. So that's pretty impressive, the last 64 men in the world. But of course, he'll be hoping to go one better than Paris and make it through. He made the last 64 in Rotterdam also in 2011. Very strong junior player. He's come through the ranks, World Junior Circuit. He won the boys singles in Egypt in 2003. One of the prominent events on the World Junior Circuit. And there's his opponent playing in the red shirt from Singapore, GAO Ning, ranked 15, 32 years of age. Made the last 16 of the World Championships 2 years ago in Paris. Our Russian umpire, who will be in charge of affairs. Hopefully he won't have a lot to do other than keep the score. But inevitably in some of these matches there is a little bit of controversy, particularly around the service and the service action. It's not quite as straightforward as you may think. But let's hope he has a fairly quiet game. And there is Peter Carlsen, world doubles champion. He won the event in Japan the same year that Jürgen Persson won the men's singles, beating Jan-Ove Waldner. Sweden winning the men's doubles title and the men's singles title.
And speaking of legendary players, Don, GAO Ning in round one here beat Jean-Michel Save of Belgium 4-1. Unprecedented 24th World Championships that Jean-Michel Save was playing in. His first back in 1983 at the age of 13. And TSUBOI, he's come through against Portugal's Diogo Chen in round one, winning also 4-1.
And so the umpire has called an end to the pre-match practice. And TSUBOI just off screen there to the right, just toweling down, making sure he's ready to start. He has the advantage of service at the beginning of this first game. Left-handed. And that's an interesting start. Long, fast serve into the forehand of GAO Ning, took him by surprise.
Last time I saw that man there, GAO Ning, he was physically tested. He'd played many, many matches in Glasgow at the Commonwealth Games. Singapore, hugely successful there in the Commonwealth Games. So he was involved in everything throughout, team, doubles, mix, singles. Last match I saw was the men's singles final, and he was basically on his knees, Don. He'd played so many matches.
I think that was an 11-day competition, table tennis at the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow. And he'd be heavily involved every day, so I don't think you can fault him for being on his knees at the end of 11 days of tough competition. Very
nice. Of course, many viewers, I'm sure, will have seen the much played and shared video of the rally between GAO Ning and Segun Toriola of Nigeria. 42 or something shots in that rally. If anybody hasn't seen it, have a look online. Fantastic rally in Scotstoun Arena in Glasgow. Meanwhile, it's Gustavo TSUBOI, who's off to a great start here. Good serve sequence, leads 4-1. Second serve of 2. He's causing some problems with the service, Don.
He's put heavy backspin on those two serves, and on both occasions GAO Ning pushing the ball into the net. He's underestimated the amount of backspin. And there we see him pushing it into the net. And it was...
Whatever you can do, I can do better.
Absolutely. Backspin on the service from GAO Ning, pushed in the net by TSUBOI.
Well, he's done well. Looked like it was advantage GAO, but he's done well to come back there, TSUBOI. Weathered the storm there against that forehand and managed to get his own forehand. A nice footwork to get round on the backhand side. Nice counter, top spin, just top edge from GAO. 6-2. Excellent serve. Did you see the swerve there?
Certainly Gao Ning having problems against the left-handed serve here. He's not really controlling the return of serve, and TSUBOI is able to get in with the forehand topspin. And again, once the rally develops, Gao Ning's having problems anticipating where that forehand topspin in particular is going. Just caught the top of the net. The TSUBOI topspin flicked it off the end of the table, but still 7-3, Brazil lead.
He's so compact, Gao Ning, such a strong guy. Physicality in his legs, he gets around the court so well, but yet technique-wise, quite short strokes, very compact. Keeps the racket very high on the forehand, comes through quite quick and short. And on the backhand, generally just solid, doesn't take anything too risky, but just solid and strong.
Gao Ning there trying to lift the backhand down the line. He lifted a little bit too much, ball off the end of the table. And this has been a really impressive start by TSUBOI, who now just takes his time. The players can towel down every 6 points. TSUBOI taking the opportunity, composing himself. He'll be telling himself just to carry on the way it's been going. Good serves, get in behind the serve. Again, the heavy backspin on the serve.
It's heavy motivated as well, Don. Game one, giving it the fist, giving it some vocals. He's into this, is the Brazilian.
There it is. TSUBOI takes the first game. Very impressive performance. He wins by 11 points to 3. And we'll be back for more action after this short break.
Nice positivity there in the Brazilian corner from Peter Carlson, Don. And as I say, I think TSUBOI looks particularly motivated. So perhaps an indication of the influence that Peter Carlson and any coach in that case can have on players in any sport, I guess.
I guess another big motivation for the Brazilian team is the thought of Rio, the Olympics in their home country, 2016. Seems a long way off, but we'll soon be there for the next Olympic Games. Table tennis, of course, made its debut in Seoul in '88, and it's been a highly successful sport on the Olympic program ever since. But certainly talking to the English, the British players, the thrill of playing in London in front of a home crowd was certainly the highlight of their playing career. So I'm sure all the Brazilian team fighting hard for the opportunity to play in front of their home crowd in Rio. And certainly TSUBOI here playing extremely well. Leads 2-1. But as you mentioned, Johnny, this gentleman on the screen there, a real fighter. I've seen him outgunned several times in the first game, but then somehow he's a clever tactician. He claws his way back into the game. He makes it very difficult for the opponent to get in. I'm sure now we're going to see him going out wide occasionally to TSUBOI's forehand and then pinning him down the backhand side, making it very difficult for him to get in with that big top spin. There again, straight into the backhand. And already you sense that Gao Ning's changed his tactics.
Always an interesting person to read body language wise, always quite calm, sometimes almost looks disinterested. But as you say, Don, a fighter. But it's a good start from the Brazilian. Trails 2-4 here, but certainly playing in a positive way, serving and trying to follow up strongly. done well just to guide that one back, Gao Ning. It was a spinny opener on the backhand from Gustavo TSUBOI. And that's a mistake he didn't want to make particularly.
Trying to go down the line with the serve. It is always a little bit more difficult to go down the line. Shorter target to aim for. And fascinating how Gao Ning has closed the game down.
By doing very little spectacularly, really.
Just not played as predictable. Pinned TSUBOI down the backhand. Got in behind his service. Then that was a great forehand topspin down the middle. Then the no-spin service to the middle of the table. TSUBOI coming across, returning with his backhand. Thought there was backspin to lift, there wasn't. Ball off the end of the table. That's where TSUBOI's dangerous, when he gets in with that forehand topspin. He hasn't done that many times in the second game because of the very clever tactics adopted by the Singaporean player.
Nice ball there, parallel from the Brazilian. Left-handed forehand down into the floor. We're going to see it here in the replay again. Nice ball, that one. Gao Ning expected to be cross-court. He'd already started to make his way around on the backhand side. Gao Ning not just so nimble on his feet there. Still leads 8-4 though.
This time heavy backspin on the service. Interesting how TSUBOI's always coming across, returning with the backhand. It's a tactic employed by a lot of players these days. This time he took it on the forehand, but he didn't quite have the control. The ball popped up. And now Gao Ning with 6 game points. Having lost the first game 11-3, he now leads 10-4.
Seals it. Nice spinny forehand from Gao Ning. That one was very straightforward, that game, 11-4, so it will be interesting to see the rest of how this round 2 match pans out. 1 game all.
Game.
And so the players ready to start the 3rd game. 1 game each, best of 7 games. First player to win 4 games through to the next round, which of course will be the last 32. And it's TSUBOI of Brazil to serve first.
Has to maximise the serve, I think, Don. Has to serve well. If he can get some free ones like that, then that's a bonus, but definitely to follow in strongly. Both players winning the first game of theirs by being positive, I think. TSUBOI the first, Gao Ning the second.
Good angles there by Gao Ning, out wide to the forehand of TSUBOI, and then brought him in short on the backhand side. The 2 extremes. Clever play by Gao Ning, moving the ball around the table, making it very difficult for TSUBOI to get in with that great forehand topspin that he has. There we go, keep making it difficult with the angles he's making, Gao Ning. little bit of good fortune there, acknowledged by GAO Ning. The forehand topspin just caught the top of the net. The deflection was sufficient to cause the error from TSUBOI. 3-1 for Singapore. Brazil with the 2 serves. Excellent return from GAO Ning. Good touch there. Just needs those soft hands to delicately return the ball tight over the net. Great serve. Long, fast serve out wide to GAO Ning's forehand. GAO Ning somehow managed to get across, but then left himself exposed on the backhand side. Here we see it. And just a simple topspin down the line.
It's important to keep varying it, isn't it, Don? In every game, whatever the level, club, county, regional, national, international, varying what you do is key. Obviously, if you've got tactics around your own game and what you're good at, build your game around that. Work on the things that you're maybe not so good on. Also, it depends on the opponent you're playing and what weaknesses and strengths they have. But keep varying it. Keep asking questions of your opponent. Play short, play topspin, fast serve, diagonal, down the line, positional, into the body.
And I think this game sums up that incredibly well, Johnny, that, let's be honest, the first game, 11-3 for TSUBOI. GAO Ning wasn't in it, but what he's done, he's come back to the table for the second game. He's varied his tactics, he's pinned TSUBOI down the backhand, put the occasional ball out wide to the forehand. But it just shows you how the brain is so important in table tennis. You get the tactics right, you make it difficult for your opponent. You do that by doing all the things that you said. And who'd have thought, having lost the first game 11-3, he's turned it round, wins the second 11-4, and he's 7-3 up. Excellent tactics from GAO Ning. And a well-placed forehand topspin into the body of TSUBOI, who now gazes up into the lights. Came out very confident, played superbly, but now he must be questioning what he has to do. And he certainly can't do that if he wants to win. Wander away from the table and lift the ball up in the air. Faded that one out wide to the TSUBOI forehand. 9-3 in favour of Singapore.
Good play. Relax it.
The other thing
3-9 down.
Sorry, Johnny. I just think now that GAO Ning's he's reading that forehand topspin, the direction. Even though he lost that point, he was there waiting for it.
Yep.
So the tactics are right, and he's now reading where that forehand topspin's going.
He's also reading the serve very well now. He's not making any mistakes. So the pressure on the Brazilian.
Game points for GAO Ning. There it is at the first time of asking. GAO Ning wins the third game, 11-5. He leads by 2 games to 1. And we'll be back after a short break.
So advantage Singapore in this second round. Last 64 men's singles match here at the Chorus. 2015 World Table Tennis Championships in Suzhou. Beautiful city of Suzhou. And to get us underway in game 4, GAO Ning, world ranked number 15. He would certainly be the favourite for this against TSUBOI, world ranked 54. TSUBOI got off to a good start, winning 11-3 in game 1, was positive, was dynamic, gained advantage on his serve. But games 2 and 3, the pendulum has swung in favour of the Singaporean. Good rally, but the strength now of GAO Ning. That ball's perfect for him in the middle of the court. Coming down the middle of the table, his ability to get that forehand in.
Excellent start by GAO Ning. It's very interesting, isn't it, the tactics that TSUBOI's strongest shot is his forehand topspin. And ironically, the best tactics is to get the ball wide to his forehand and then pin him down the backhand. So it's brave tactics, playing the first ball into the strength, but then TSUBOI has the problem. He's never sure when that ball's going to go wide to his forehand. So he's reluctant to run round his backhand and play forehand topspins because that could be the one that's going out wide to his forehand. So I'm sure we'll see GAO Ning play the occasional one wide to the forehand, but in general, he'll try and force TSUBOI to play backhands from the backhand side. He's employed those tactics quite superbly in games 2 and 3, and he won those 2 games 11-4, 11-5. The ball's just come in from the adjacent court. None other than Mr. Ma Long in action, the number 1 seed. And he's cruising to victory against the French player. Again, that first topspin from GAO Ning going out wide to the forehand. I'm sure had the rally have developed, it would have then gone back into the backhand. There we saw a perfect example of the successful tactics wide to the forehand into the backhand. And Singapore now lead by 6 points to 1.
He created the opening there, TSUBOI, but just strong topspin from GAO. Lots of mistakes now. He's lost the momentum here, TSUBOI. He's almost run out of steam.
And unfortunately for him, his steam didn't last very long. It really only lasted for the first game, which he was outstanding. Won 11-3, but games 2, 3, and now it looks like 4.
Oh, he's starting to miss easy balls. That counter topspin before the one there he missed was a difficult one. He played it well. Great receive. Watch this one. Lovely feeling parallel. Creates the opening. Oh, it's a bad miss, that one. He'd be disappointed. And now it's certainly one-way traffic.
So 10-1, what a very convincing performance by GAO Ning. Perfect example of excellent tactics.
Nice ball from TSUBOI parallel. Just not been able to be proactive in the points enough. GAO Ning keeping things tight and taking the advantage himself. There's another example, gets the forehand in and then controls the rest of the rally. That was a backhand block. TSUBOI makes the error and that seals game number 4. 11 points to 2 for the Singaporean, who now goes into a 3-1 lead and requires one more game to take his place in the last 32.
注意他有时候会扣一两个长球，稍微盯着啊。Time, please. Field game.
So players have been given their advice. Peter Carlson there, the Brazilian coach, taking the longest time. But I guess his player is trailing, so more information to share. And it's TSUBOI to kick us off with the serve here. He trails 3-1. Must win this game to stay in the match, in the tournament. And that is not a good start.
Not the advice I'm sure that Peter Carlson gave to TSUBOI. Long fast serve maybe, but it certainly wouldn't be serve off the end of the table. So Brazil, no doubt, invested in the knowledge of Peter Carlson to help the team in their build-up to Rio, the Olympic Games. It's going to be tough in Rio for anybody to win a gold medal other than the Chinese team. 4 gold medals up for grabs in Rio in table tennis. Men's singles, women's singles, men's team, women's team. Of course, Peter Carlson was a member of the Swedish team in the late 80s, early 90s when Sweden were the #1 team in the world. 89 Dortmund, they beat China in the final of the team event. Janove Voldner winning the men's singles 2 years later. In Shiba in Japan, again, Sweden beating China. Persson beating Voldner in the final of the men's singles. And Peter Carlson himself winning the men's doubles, partnered with Thomas von Scheele, who is now working with the Swedish team. So it's good to see these experienced players involved, but it would appear that Peter Carlson's words of wisdom haven't worked, as GAO Ning opens with the first 5 points.
He's commanding the table there. Watch how he's so close to the table, confident in taking the top spins of TSUBOI. GAO Ning just accelerating there on the backhand to put pressure on the Brazilian, and now has the serve at 6-love. Closing in on a victory here, the world ranked number 15, the 14th seed here in Suzhou, and ready to take his place in the last 32.
Quite amazing to see TSUBOI win the first game 11-3 and look good, and GAO Ning having problems returning his service, having problems telling where the forehand topspin's going. He suddenly turned it round, 11-4, 11-5, 11-2, and now leads by 7 points to 1. That topspin from TSUBOI just caught the edge of the table. So TSUBOI's only success, only point in this 5th game is that edge ball, but that was a good topspin from the Brazilian player. That's his challenge. If he can get him with that forehand topspin, like that one, then he's still got a chance, but again, he let that one drop. Didn't time it. The ball caught the leading edge of the racket, flew off the end of the table. And GAO Ning 3 points away from a place in the last 32 of the men's singles here in Suzhou. TSUBOI misreading the spin there, thought there was backspin, there wasn't. It was a no-spin service, what we would call the float serve. A little bit casual there from GAO Ning. A seasoned campaign, he knows he's got to keep the pressure on, he knows he's got to keep employing the tactics that have been so successful in games 2, 3, 4 and now 5. Just taking his time, composing himself. He knows if he takes the pressure off and he plays soft, TSUBOI's got a very strong topspin, particularly the forehand. I suspect a 9-4 lead is enough at this stage, but you never know.
He's gone for a strong one there. It's last chance saloon type play there from TSUBOI. Risks taken.
6 match points. One saved, 5 remain. Oh, the net cord seals the match for GAO Ning. He takes the 5th game, 11 points to 5. The players shake hands with the officials, and that's a pretty impressive performance by Singapore's GAO Ning to lose the first game 11-3 and then win the next 4, 5, 2 and 5. A wonderful display of excellent tactical table tennis, and it's GAO Ning of Singapore, as we can see on the screen, who goes through to the round of last 32, the 3rd round of the men's singles. There he is, the victor, and we'll be back shortly for more action here in Suzhou.